Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the Modern Chat Network Evening Update. As we wind down the day, we're going to take a closer look at some key developments, from the subtle shifts in our political landscape to the real cost of living and a public health message that really affects every single one of us.
So let's begin with tonight's headlines. Our first story is one that's certainly raising a lot of questions at the very highest levels of government. It's really about who was, and more importantly, who wasn't present for a major national event, and what that might be signaling about the country's political road ahead.
And here's the central fact of the matter. Vice President Chiwenga was conspicuously absent from the president's recent State of the Nation address. The official reason that's been given is a medical trip to South Africa for review.
So, you might be asking, why does an absence like this matter so much? Well, as the presidential spokesperson George Chiramba confirmed, missing the State of the Nation address is, a pretty significant event. Within the ruling ZANU PF party, there is always speculation, always talk about who might eventually succeed the president. And the vice president's health, that's been a public topic for a few years now, with several medical trips abroad. So an absence like this, at a moment like this, well, it naturally fuels some really intense political debate and analysis.
Now, to try and understand the undercurrents here, a lot of political analysts often turn to traditional wisdom. There's an old African proverb, and it goes like this. When a hyena wants to eat its children, it first accuses them of smelling like goats. In the context of Zimbabwean politics, this is often taken as a kind of warning. Before a political figure is pushed aside, a reason, a pretext is often created. It really speaks to a long history of using public perception and even character attacks as tools in these high-stakes power struggles.
All right, shifting gears now from internal politics to our international relations, we have another major development. The government is now openly acknowledging that financial support from international donors is, well, it's drying up, and a very controversial new law might just be at the heart of it.
You see, critics are drawing a direct line between this drop in funding and the new Private Voluntary Organizations Act, or the PVO Amendment Act. What this law does, essentially, is give the government much tighter control over non-governmental organizations, NGOs. The Minister for Public Service was pretty blunt about it, saying that NGOs must not lead us, we must lead them. So with that international aid shrinking, the administration says it's now going to have to look for funding from within the country and through partnerships with private companies.
Okay, let's move on from the high-level politics to something that I think affects every single one of us in our daily budget, the economy. More specifically, we're going to look at the value of the money that's actually in your pocket.
Right, here are tonight's numbers, and boy, do they tell a story. Officially, $1 is supposed to get you about $26.90. But as I'm sure you know, that's not quite the reality when you go to pay for something. At popular spots like InScore, you're looking at a rate closer to 32. At KFC, it's even higher at 33.50. This gap, this difference between the official rate and the rate on the street, it's a really clear indicator of the real pressure on everyone's purchasing power.
Next up, we have a very important public health advisory. This is a message about the medicine in all of our homes and, crucially, how every single one of us can play a part in making it safer for everybody.
This is a direct quote from Richard Tendai Rakwada, who's the Director General of the Medicines Control Authority of Zimbabwe. And he's making a really powerful point. Making sure our medication is safe isn't just a job for the regulators. It's actually a responsibility that we all share.
This call to action is all part of the ongoing #MedSafetyWeek, and here is why it is so critical. Authorities estimate that only about 5 to 10% of suspected side effects are ever officially reported. Just think about that for a second. When people don't speak up, it can take so much longer to spot potentially dangerous issues with some medications. The message is really simple. If you or a member of your family experience an unexpected side effect, reporting it is absolutely vital.
And for a final story tonight, we turn to a call for community action. This comes in the wake of a deeply disturbing incident of animal cruelty. $1,000. That $1,000 is the reward now being offered by the Zimbabwe National SPCA. They are urgently asking for the public's help to find the person who is seen in a viral video committing what they've called a barbaric act of cruelty against a puppy, apparently as part of some kind of ritual. The organization is absolutely committed to making sure the person responsible is prosecuted.
So if you have any information at all that could help with this investigation, the ZNSPCA really wants to hear from you. The contact details are on your screen right now. That includes their toll-free number, an emergency line, and an email address. You can also, of course, report any information directly to your local police station.
And that brings us to the end of our update for this evening. From political shifts to urgent calls for community action, it's clear that it has been a very busy day.
Thank you for joining us. We really are building this platform through honest work, and if you value what we do, please do consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. It helps us immensely. Have a very peaceful evening. Good night.